Donald Trump has said he wants to nominate Kash Patel to lead the FBI. Granted, the job's not open, but that's a whole other thing.
That's right. I mean, Donald Trump would first have to fire Christopher Wray, who's still serving out his 10-year term, in order to install Kash Patel at the helm of the FBI. But look, that is playing exactly into what I was just mentioning. I mean, Patel is someone who has called for shutting down the Bureau's Washington headquarters, for firing FBI leadership, and also for rooting out bias that they believe agents have really permeated the Bureau, I should say, over the last several years. This is something that is very important to Donald Trump. I was told when he was making this decision, he was between two candidates, Patel and Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey. And the reason he didn't like Bailey, I was told he was not impressed with his in-person interview with him, but also because he didn't believe that he had the personality traits or fit the mold that Donald Trump is looking for, which is really a legal pit bull and someone who will carry out his agenda and really reform and disrupt the agency that Donald Trump has really been gunning to do for several years now. John?
All right, Elena Treen for us in Florida, where no doubt it will be busy over the next few days. Kate?
Joining us right now on this is CNN's senior law enforcement analyst, former deputy director of the FBI, Andrew McCabe. Andy, what's your take on Kash Patel being picked to head up the FBI?
So, Kate, it's a somewhat confounding pick. There's a whole conversation to be had about whether or not he's qualified for the job. I would argue he's clearly not. He doesn't have the experience and knowledge of the law enforcement community. Is a fairly undistinguished legal career. He doesn't really have a fraction of the qualifications that any former FBI director chosen by any president has. But that's really not my main concern. My main concern is what it says about Donald Trump's intention for the FBI and where Kash Patel might take the FBI if he's confirmed as director. And that all points in one direction, and that is back to the FBI's regretful history of acting as essentially the enforcement arm for the president's political activities. That's where we come from as an institution. That's who we were under our first director, J. Edgar Hoover. But it is something we've gotten away from in the last 50 years, the post-Watergate, post-Church Committee, Pike Committee investigations. And the FBI today is an independent entity that the nation relies on to enforce its criminal laws and protect it from national security threats. So I think it's a really, really concerning pick.
And some of the things that we know Kash Patel has said he would like to do with the FBI and Justice Department. He's called for a comprehensive house cleaning of the Justice Department. He said he wants to dismantle or shut down FBI headquarters in Washington and have it be turned into a museum of the deep state. If he would do that, it would be clearly hugely disruptive. If it's something short of that, then what?
Well, it would almost certainly be something short of that. That's kind of an absurd, podcast talking point. If he's actually serious about that, I guess it means he doesn't understand that the 7,000 people who work at headquarters, 6,000 of them are not even agents. They are scientists and computer specialists and analysts and secretaries and professional support staff who clearly wouldn't be sent out around the country to work as cops as he's threatened. But it would be a significant disruption to pursue any portion of that. And that, again, gets back to my concerns about him. We haven't heard anything from Kash Patel about what his plans will be. What's his vision for the FBI? What does he think? In what ways does he think he could make the FBI more effective or efficient?
And Andy, really I think that's important because your decades of working at the FBI. He would face confirmation. What question would you have for him, given the breadth of your knowledge and experience in serving in the department?
Oh, many, Kate, right? You shouldn't even think about accepting a nomination like this unless you're someone who has spent a lot of time thinking about understanding the FBI, knowing its people and how it works, and having a clear, articulable vision about where you intend to take the organization. Every new FBI director takes it in a different direction, makes it something it wasn't before. That's a good and healthy process. But we've heard nothing about that from Kash Patel except these insane rants about the footprint is too big. I don't even know what that means. Sending people out to work as police officers and turning the headquarters into a museum. None of that will actually happen. But what sort of burn it all down damage is he going to do, because he really has no other credible direction to take the agency?
Yeah. Lots of questions now to be posed going forward in the coming days and weeks. It's good to see you, Andy. Thank you for jumping on. I really appreciate it.
We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice.
Those the words of Kash Patel vowing to go after perceived opponents of Donald Trump. He is now also the man that Trump says he wants to lead the FBI. Over the weekend, the president-elect making it official in a statement, calling Patel, quote, a brilliant lawyer, investigator, and American first fighter who has spent his career exposing corruption. Democrats calling the pick proof that Donald Trump wants the FBI to be weaponized against his political enemies.
Kash Patel's only qualification is because he agrees with Donald Trump that the Department of Justice should serve to punish, lock up, and intimidate Donald Trump's political opponents.
But some congressional Republicans say Patel's selection is exactly why Donald Trump was elected in the first place. Do you have any reservations about Kash Patel serving in that role?
No. Donald Trump campaigned on reforming the FBI and the Department of Justice. So I don't know why any of this is, frankly, surprising to people.
I think Kash Patel is a very strong nominee to take on the partisan corruption in the FBI.
There are serious problems at the FBI. The American public knows it. They expect to see sweeping change, and Kash Patel is just the type of person to do it.
All right, our panel's back. Brad Todd, the Wall Street Journal has a pretty interesting op-ed on this today. I will say I was surprised that Lawler was so unequivocal as a swing district Republican. Obviously, the others that we saw there a little bit more straightforward in their kind of the way that we might expect them to answer something like this. But the Journal, sort of interestingly, they really went after Jim Comey in this op-ed. They say the FBI's abuses under Comey were the worst since J. Edgar Hoover, as documented by the Justice Department IG, and they reference the special counsel John Durham. FISA officials lied to get a warrant against Trump campaign official Carter Page. They lied about disinformation in the Steele dossier, which was financed by the Clinton campaign. But they reference John Bolton, who told our Jake Tapper over the weekend that Trump has nominated Kash Patel to be his Lavrenti Beria, who is, of course, the head of Joseph Stalin's secret police. And he says the Senate should reject this nomination 100-0. The Journal argues, okay, the Senate really has to look at this. What do you think is the future for Kash Patel?
I'm watching two people on the Senate Judiciary Committee, John Cornyn and Chuck Grassley. Chuck Grassley's already spoken. He said, of course, the Justice Department needs to be reformed. Of course, we have to have major changes. Kash Patel has to explain to the Senate how he's going to do it. I want to see his plan. John Cornyn also was the Chief Justice of the Texas Supreme Court. He takes a very serious approach to these matters. Both of them are late in their careers. Both of them have not yet announced if they're running for re-election this time. I think that the way those two men handle this on the Senate Judiciary Committee holds the fate of Kash Patel's nomination. For sure, there are probably 2 or 3 Republicans who could vote no. If you're looking for a fourth one, what I would first look at is, can he get out of the Senate Judiciary Committee?
That's an interesting way to think about it. I mean, because the Journal does go on to write, does Mr. Patel still want to unleash the FBI on Democrats and media critics like Hoover? Down that road lies no end of political trouble. And again, this is the Wall Street Journal. It's not like a liberal bastion, okay? No end of political trouble for Republicans and the Trump presidency. The effort is sure to backfire. Voters didn't reelect Mr. Trump to practice lawfare the way his opponents have. The country wants a bureau it can trust, not a Republican version of the Comey FBI. Will that resonate?
Well, I don't know about that, but I think that the Republicans are ready to see the Department of Justice turned 180 degrees around. And some of that's going to mean it's going to have to not go easy on Democrats. But I think Republicans mainly want to see it depoliticized. There is 100-0 among Republicans on that.